Hey guys, welcome to today's episode, and I'm super excited. Today we have Cary Feldman from Cary's Healthy Habits, and we are going to be starting a 30-day challenge. This is a 30-day challenge to build long-lasting healthy habits. And so we're going to tell you all about it. You're going to get a 1-hour weekly group Zoom with Cary and I, both of us. You're going to have access to both of us, all of the people in the group, but we are keeping this super, super small because we want it to be super intimate. So we are capping the number of people who are getting in. And we're going to have daily accountability and motivation. And so I know a lot of you are thinking, I hate the word accountability. It's kind of like a curse word, but honestly, that is the game changer. So we're super excited. Cary, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to do this with you, Chantel. I think it's going to be an awesome program.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. So one of the things that we're going to teach you are kind of some of these habits that thin eaters have, that people who are overeaters, who have a tendency to constantly overeat, can struggle with. So one of the things, we have a mutual friend, her name is Missy, and she was telling me that one of her tips is that 5 days a week, she, for dinner, she's eating like a protein and a vegetable. She's eating pretty clean. But then on Friday and Saturdays, or usually it doesn't have to be a Friday, Saturday, but about 2 days a week, she's eating kind of, what she's craving or whatever she wants. And so, sometimes it might be pizza, but the nice thing is she talks really about like what she eats. So she says, when I have pizza, I have one slice of pizza, and then I might have the toppings on the second pizza, or I might have nachos. But again, she's not having that 7 days a week. 5 days a week, she's having fish and veggies or salmon and veggies. So give a couple of tips like that, Cary, where people can really feel like, hey, this is not, hey, deprive. We're going to talk about eating healthy, but we're also going to talk about how the key to success is sprinkling in those indulgences. Can you talk about that?
Sure, absolutely. I think the key to what we're going to teach and do through this program and challenge with people is to teach people not a diet, but how to live a healthy lifestyle past the 30 days that we work with them. So basically teaching people to think and be mindful about how you're eating your food. Like not only what you're eating, but is it nutritious? Is it going to fuel my body? Or am I indulging in this? And if so, that's okay. But to really think through the process and realize I'm going to have this little bit of a treat, but I'm also going to now, the next thing I take in is going to be healthier or better for my body. So it's really learning the keys and the tips that you need to understand how to eat in a healthy way, but also to be able to enjoy the things you love.
Talk a little bit before we were talking about Zoe's, and you were talking about how, kind of Monday through Thursday, you're eating pretty clean, and maybe on Friday and Saturday, maybe if you go to Zoe's, talk about that.
Sure, absolutely. So we talked earlier about if I'm going to make a health choice where I am going to, on the weekend, going to splurge a little and have those types of foods that I typically wouldn't eat during the week on maybe, Monday through Thursday. For example, if I went to Zoe's, like we talked about earlier, I would typically get a steak, but then I would probably get a little side of mac and cheese, and I would know going into it that I'm going to have a little dessert that night also. So I would probably eat my mac and cheese. And then if I ate a larger portion of that, I'm only going to have a couple of bites for dessert of my dessert. But if I eat a little less of the mac and cheese, I could probably eat a little more of the dessert. So it's really thinking through, I am going to splurge a little, but I'm not going to overeat and overindulge. I'm just going to indulge a little, enough that I enjoy what I'm taking in and I'm not depriving myself of the foods I love.
Hey guys, I really want you to join our intermittent fasting and OMAD Facebook group. We're doing tons of giveaways right now for posting your before and after pictures and just for posting a question in there. We're giving away free protein shakes, some digest aid, all kinds of fun stuff. So please join our intermittent fasting and OMAD Facebook group. The link is in the show notes. So I want you to talk a little bit about some of the questions that we're going to be asking people, and we're going to ask you kind of on a daily basis so that we can help keep them accountable. Do you want to go through those 5 questions?
Sure. I think the 5 questions that we're going to talk to people about each week is going to be, first, what was your hunger scale on 0 to 5 when you're eating your last meal? And were you truly hungry when you started eating? That was the first thing that we're going to focus on. And then our second question will be, what was the level of fullness on your scale of 0 to 5? And the third is, did you take 20 minutes to eat your meal? And then if you ate clean, how did your body feel? Or if you made a poor choice, how did you feel afterwards? And our final question that we're going to focus on is, did you reduce your sugar and white carb intake? And I think focusing on those 5 questions each week will truly help people to be more mindful and hold themselves accountable for what they're doing. But we're also going to give tips throughout the week of how to do these things to help people out along the way.
Yeah. So I'll go over one. So one of the things we're going to talk about are meal finishers. And those are really important for me because one of the things I have trouble doing is finishing, ending my meal, because it's once I start eating, I feel like I just want to keep going. And then I kind of want something sweet and then I want something else. And then I'm like, am I done yet? So that can be a real problem for me. So we're going to talk about some different tips. So for me, eating a raw carrot before I eat the sweet, if I'm right before I'm like, okay, I want something sweet, I'll eat a couple of raw carrots because somehow it just kind of has my, my fullness kind of registers a little bit and keeps me from overeating. And then I'll go ahead and have that sweet. A lot of times I'll have a cup of decaf coffee if it's later in the day, or if it's earlier in the day, I might have a cup of coffee with caffeine and I'll have some cream in it. In the morning, I have black coffee because I don't want to spike my insulin. So I'll have black coffee in the morning. But as a meal finisher, to kind of finish that meal, I'll have coffee with cream. Another couple tips is sometimes I refrigerate my chocolate. I'll put it in the freezer. And then that way it takes longer for me to eat it. And then it takes longer to kind of savor that in my mouth. So when I put it in my mouth, the chocolate will melt more slowly and it kind of stretches out that time and pleasure of eating that sweet. Because if I just sit there and gobble, gobble, gobble it up, it's not going to satisfy me the way that it is. So these are all the kind of tips, practical things we're going to talk about of how does a thin eater eat? What's the difference between someone who's overeating, and really talking about some of those tips every time. So we're super excited. We really want you guys to join us. We'll have more soon. So stay with us. And if you go to chantelrayway.com and then right there on that homepage, you will click and it will say the 30-day challenge to build long-lasting habits, the 4-week class. We're starting this Wednesday and we are only having a few people. We really want you to be with us. But unfortunately, we do have to cap the class to a very small number because that's where we find success. If there's too many people in the class, people get lost in the sauce, and we really want to give you that personal attention. Cary, any other final thoughts?
I think you said most of it, except for the simple fact, like you said, we are super excited to really help people with this challenge, give them our knowledge base, and at the same time, look forward to seeing their results.
Yeah. And one of the other thing is you are going to have an accountability partner within the group. So you'll have that partner, plus you'll have both of us to hold you accountable and kind of keep you motivated. So we're super excited. I know that we can do this, and we'll see you next time. You guys stay tuned. We've got another episode in just a few. Bye-bye for now.